I have written to you, Minister, only last evening, and we now have the opportunity to share our thoughts in relation to this very distressing situation presenting in the town of Castleblayney, a town that has suffered recent significant job losses with the closure of the Caoimhghín plant, a meat processing facility in that town, and the loss of 70 jobs. On Monday, it presented that Musgraves, the supplier to the SuperValu store in Castleblayney, despite the fact that they were engaged in direct negotiations with the owner, Mr. Jim McConnon, and his accountant over some time previously, went ahead unilaterally and sought the appointment of a temporary liquidator to the High Court and have brought about the closure of this retail business. The consequence of that is devastating for Mr. McConnon and his family, but it is also hugely devastating for the 40 full-time workers and 15 part-time workers in that significant store in this small border community. I have appealed to you directly, Minister, to use your good office and the office of your department, the Department of Enterprise, Jobs and Innovation, to engage directly with Musgraves in Cork, to impress on them the importance of resuming the negotiation, a negotiation that was against the very positive development of the securement by Mr. McConnon of the certainty of tenure as a result of a protracted negotiation with the bank and others previously. And on that basis, he believed that there was indeed a workable way forward that would have not only protected his business, but very importantly, and from a priority view in my case, would have protected the employment of the some 55 people who now find themselves on the unemployment numbers. I would hope that you would be in a position to outline to us here today, Minister, what steps you have undertaken or intend to undertake. I think it's hugely important that negotiations that are understood to be proceeding in good faith are not being undermined by duplicitousness, where on the one part there is an engagement and on the other one of the parties is preparing to literally pull the carpet from underneath the other, and that's the situation that presented here on Monday. Mr. McConnon and his colleagues had travelled to Dublin for what was a continuum of an engagement that had been taking place over a preceding period of time, and at the same time, simultaneously, Musgraves were before the High Court, and an army of some 30 red-shirted people employed by Musgraves were en route to Castleblayney to carry out a stocktake. This is not the way to have a relationship. What is involved here is a very, very serious matter in terms of procedure, disposition and attitude, and whatever about the issues and difficulties at the core, there has to be some sense of straightforwardness, of appreciation of what is involved in the round. People should not be taking decisions unilaterally that are going to have such devastating consequences.
Thank you.
And I would hope that your office and your department would impress that on the principal, in this instance, Musgraves, as the suppliers.
Thank you.
Caoimhghín.
Minister.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the Deputy for raising this matter, and indeed Deputy Sean Conlon has also raised concerns about this matter with me. Of course, I'd have to say I am really disappointed to hear of any job losses, and I'm very conscious of the effect that those losses will have on the individuals concerned. And certainly I'd like to assure people that the state agencies will be available to support people in any way that they can. As regards the substance of the business case, obviously there are legal processes in train here where the parties involved have proceeded to the courts, and the issues are under the supervision of the courts, and the scope for intervention is very limited. This is not an agency, this is not a company supported by the agency, so we don't have the sort of relationship that would be involved with other companies. It would appear that a business decision has been taken by the supplier in respect of this outlet, and clearly I'm not privy to the details of that. There isn't, if you like, I can't set myself up as arbiter of business decisions of these natures. They have approached the courts as is their entitlement under the law, and I have to respect that. Of course, I will seek to support in any way that I can. If the issues of industrial relations arise, I will use the offices that I have available to me, the agencies who are experienced in dealing with such issues, if there's scope there. In terms of the positions of workers, if it's not possible from the liquidation to find a basis for trading, continued trading by in some form, the offices of the FÁS, the state training agencies, the county enterprise boards will be available to support workers should they seek to start new business or to retrain. In terms of the access to entitlements, statutory entitlements, the Insolvency Payment Scheme established under the Protection of Employees Act of 1984 provides for payment of certain entitlements owed to employees by their employer at the time of liquidation. These entitlements include wages, holiday pay, sick pay, minimum notice, pension contributions. Claims in respect of such entitlements under the Insolvency Payment Scheme can be processed if a company is insolvent within the definition of the Protection of Employees Act 1984, and a relevant officer, normally a receiver or liquidator, has been appointed and certifies the claims. Responsibility for the protection of employees and associated regulations is a matter, as you know, of the Minister for Social Protection. Under the Protection of Employees Act, there are a number of provisions regarding information and consultation which must be entered into before collective redundancies can be implemented, and regarding the provision of information to employees to the Minister for Jobs, Enterprise and Innovation. Section 9 and 10 of the Protection of Employees Act 97 make it mandatory on employers proposing a collective redundancy to engage in an information and consultation process with employees' representatives and to provide certain information relating to proposed redundancies. An employer is prohibited from issuing any notice of redundancy during the 30-day minimum employee information and consultation period. Where a liquidator has been appointed to a company, he or she takes on the responsibilities of the employer. So then there are procedures then if they're in the event of disputes about the honouring of those obligations and the right to refer a case to a rights commissioner.
Deputy O'Caoláin.
Minister, I appreciate that these are early hours following on the dreadful announcement. I have corresponded directly with Musgraves, and today I got a response back from them to my written appeal of yesterday. And I have it to say that they've offered nothing, they've guaranteed nothing, but they have, of course, sought to recruit my support of calls for an end to the workers' protest at the now closed store. That's with the sum total of what they've had to say. I fully understand the great upset, the frustration of the significant workforce in this retail outlet. And my purpose in raising this matter with you, Minister, is that whatever restrictions, whatever difficulties, whatever limited opportunities may be open to you, it's to make an appeal that you would indeed, and your office, engage directly with Musgraves. I do believe it would have been a better course if they had not sought the appointment of a liquidator with all that that entails, and perhaps had sought the appointment of a receiver who would have ensured, I believe, at least for a period of time, the ongoing conduct of the business at the particular location, and that over a period of time, with the opportunity to further elaborate in relation to the engagement that had been ongoing between Mr. McConnon and Musgraves, that a resolution could have been arrived at. I would again urge you, and I know it's not within your gift to turn the situation around, but your support would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And I do believe, I have had a cursory outline by the owner of the business of the status and the intent of that engagement, and he is certainly convinced that there was a workable way forward. I am of the view that he has contended with great difficulties over recent years and has managed to hold his position and to survive, and is on a most definite course to ensure the continuation of his business and the great employment that it has given. And I believe he is absolutely deserving of every support from the state apparatus. And again, I use this limited opportunity, for which I'm very grateful, to again urge your engagement directly with Musgraves. I believe they can pull back from the brink at this stage, and a very sad scenario can be set aside and a brighter prospect put in place on the main street of Castleblayney.
Thank you. Minister, it's 2 minutes.
I certainly appreciate the scale of the shock that's involved here, but I'd have to be honest and say I don't know the detailed business background, and as I said, this business doesn't come under my agencies and wouldn't be eligible for state support in any form because of the nature of the type of business. Clearly the liquidator acts under the guidance of the courts, and that provides a forum where I suppose the working out of the issues between the sides is conducted under the guidance of the court, and that should provide, fairness in protecting the interests of those concerned. I don't know the extent to which a liquidator can retrieve a business from what has happened here, and clearly that is the duty of the court overseen process to see what can be found from if you like, this situation. Can a fresh business be found from within it? What is the state of play in terms of assets and liabilities and the viability of the underlying business? That's clearly the process that's now in train under the guidance of the court, and it's not, I don't have a direct role in that, and that is the constraint that's really on my office. Where there's obviously, if workers raise issues concerned with employment rights and areas where we do have legal responsibility, or if our agencies can support in terms of industrial relations issues that could perhaps be sorted, we'd be more than happy to do that. But as of now, this has just come to my notice. I don't have the levers to deal with the issues concerned. Okay, will do.